Europe, I mean, that's where we are right now. It's very open, free, easy to get around, communication, things are well arranged. And then I went to Saudi, didn't know the language, didn't know the culture, didn't know nothing. And I really had to learn everything from scratch.
Wie eigentlich zu einer Ausbildung Hotellerie gekommen?
Hätten Sie gedacht, dass Sie dort landen, wo Sie jetzt sind?
Was ist Ihre tägliche Motivation?
Wie sieht Ihre perfekte Küchencrew aus?
Was ist der erste Schritt auf dem Weg zum General Manager?
Sind Sie zufrieden mit Ihrem?
Haben Sie eine gute Work-Life-Balance?
Was kochen Sie am liebsten?
Wir gehen einfach mal nachfragen.
Hi.
Here.
Of course.
Can you introduce yourself to the people at home?
Yes, I can. Hello everybody, my name is Koen. I'm working at the Hilton Berlin as the assistant F&D Manager, meaning I'm responsible for the bars, for the restaurants, for all the events, the terrace, room service, anything that has to do with food and drinks is within my department. And I started not too long ago. Yeah, that's me.
Thank you. You have already done a lot of things in your career. Can you take us back to the beginning? How did you start in the hotel industry?
In the hotel industry, yeah. Hotel industry, to be honest, was not my first job. I started when I was 16, but did some odd jobs, let's say, before that. Newspaper route, worked on the farm as well. Hotellerie started when I was 16. I wanted to do something where I was around other people the whole time. I'm from the Netherlands, the most common things at that age is either you go to a supermarket, you go to a drugstore, or to a restaurant. It's either one of the three. I chose for the restaurant, see what it's like. Started out as a dishwasher, went into the service to see what that's like. And then when I switched to another restaurant, I started in the kitchen. So right in the beginning, I did all three already.
You were a cook.
Yeah, I have been a cook as well.
Okay.
Not that I'm the best, but as I did desserts and prep, that's okay. Yeah.
So you know what it's like.
I know what
being
it's like.
in the service, being in the kitchen.
Yeah, I was a cook for half a year. Dishwashing I did for the same amount of time. Service I've done for about 7 years or so. So that's definitely where I shine the most, but the others I have experience as well. Yeah.
Okay. But then how did you go from the restaurant to the hotel?
Yeah, so I worked in restaurants for about 1.5 years, 2 years. That's when I decided to study hospitality. And during my studies, I had to do an internship. I could go to a standalone restaurant, but since I had already done that, I was like, okay, let's go into a hotel to see what that's like. That's how I started in hotels, loved it. Of course, as it's an internship, I went back at one point, back to school, back to home, went back to the restaurant as well. And after that, when I got the first chance to leave, not that it was not nice, but to leave to do something else, I said to myself, I'm going to go back into hotels.
And then where did you go?
I first went to Amsterdam, close to home, easy to, I got into Hilton, close to home, didn't have to travel that much.
So you already started at Hilton right from the beginning?
No, wait, actually, no, now that you say it, my apologies. No, when I did my internship, I started with Marriott, actually. Yeah, so I started out with Marriott, obviously made the choice at one point to go to Hilton. So yeah, started at Marriott, then went to Hilton. So it was the USA, it was Amsterdam, then Hilton Vienna, Austria. Went to Saudi, to Jeddah, Hilton as well. Moved to Seychelles, a little bit tropical island, different vibe. And then ended up here in, let's say, the sunny Berlin.
Sure, that's one way to put it. But you're the F&B manager right now, but you have done a lot of other things. Can you walk us through the different stations that you did in the other hotels?
Yes. The first job in hotels for me was front office. So I did everything, was agent, night shift, supervisor, concierge, just to get a feel for the whole front office.
But that was during your internship?
That was during my internship, yeah. In Amsterdam, I was in the finance department. At that time, I still was very interested in numbers. After that, not so much anymore. Learned that it's not really my thing. And then when I went to Vienna, the only thing that I was still interested in and missing was human resources. So yes, it's still hotels working with people, but instead of working with guests, you're working in the back with team members. It's quite a nice change. That was the last big department I've done. Then I started a training program within Hilton as a job itself. And that's where I went again from the basics through all the departments So if you then say, hey, if you've been in housekeeping, yeah, I've been in housekeeping. IT, I've also done IT. But those things were just 2-3 months each to go through everything. Yes, any department that's in a hotel was in the training. So food and beverage, front office, housekeeping, IT, engineering, marketing, sales, revenue management, which is not in most properties, but truly every department I have been in for that training.
But now I'm interested, what did you do in IT?
Uh,
If my computer
So-
was broken, would I
well,
call
the
you
first
and
thing,
Koen fix my computer?
well, I would say, have you turned it on and off? Like,
Sure.
yeah. No, so IT there was mainly to get to know all the systems. So what does a hotel work with? Which departments are they involved with? How do they work together with front office? How do they work with F&B? How do they work with marketing? What happens if there is a complete power outage? What is the backup systems? Where does information go to? Just to get a feel of what IT does. Because it's not necessary that I need to be able to do their job, but I need to know what they do and how I can work with them, how they can help me, how I help them.
So you don't call them for every tiny thing?
No, I don't. No.
So you did an elevator program, or did you do another? You want to explain that a little?
Sure. Yeah. So
How it works.
so Elevator is a management program from Hilton itself. It has 2 stages. So it basically starts with a training, because Elevator is to become a GM in the future at one point. First is training, 18 months. You do 2 different hotels. So I went to Saudi and to Seychelles. First hotel, you focus on operations and on human resources. And the second hotel, you focus on the commercial departments and on finance. So in 9 months, you go through all the departments, so you know exactly what is going on in a hotel. You not only go to a department, but you do everything as well. So take housekeeping for an example. I was for 2 months in housekeeping. I did a few weeks, I was with the team members. So I was actually cleaning the rooms, cleaning the hotel, taking out the trash, really did the very basics from the beginning. I was a few weeks with the supervisors to see what are they doing, how are they leading the team, what are their tasks. So I could see that level. And then I ended up with the manager to see, hey, what does a head of a department in housekeeping do? Responsibilities, tasks, day-to-day, full year view. So that's what I did in every department, meaning that once I left the department, I know what everybody does, what happens, what needs to happen, what to prepare, what to think of, and I did that in every department. Yeah.
That's a lot. Do you need any qualifications to do the elevator program? You have to just work at Hilton, or you have a bachelor's degree? Do you need a bachelor's degree, or can you just start?
Yeah, so there is 2 requirements. One is, so the program that I did was for EMEA, so Europe, Middle East, Africa. I needed to have a passport for one of the countries in that region. Very simple, just so that you're eligible to work within this region for Hilton.
So if you have like a Dutch passport, you're good to go?
Yeah, because then it falls in a region. If I would have an American passport, I would not be able to do it since
Then
it
you
doesn't
could
fall in
do
a
the
region.
program for
The Americas,
yeah.
yeah. And the second qualification is any bachelor or master's degree, no matter what it is in. So in my group, we also had people that did marketing. We had one that studied law, and we had one that came from investment. So it's, for them, it's just to show you have a certain level of thinking, but it doesn't matter if it's from hospitality or something else.
Interesting. Do you think that your bachelor's degree has helped you in the long run, like with the whole program? You did
Personally, not necessarily. I'm not the biggest learner. I'm not the biggest fan of studying, to be honest. And since I have always worked, either outside of school or all my internships that I've done, that's where I got the experience. So once I studied at university level for my bachelor's, I mean, it was quite easy, so to say, because I had that experience, whilst others came from just school and did their next studies. I came from a working environment. So for me, it was much easier to just say like, oh, I remember this from the hotel. So it goes 1, 2, 3, and just to apply my experience. So I wouldn't say it necessarily helped. Of course, in this sense, to get into the program, yes. But you go over the basics, which either 4 years of studying or 4 years of working, at the end, both get the same IDs. It's just that with working, you actually are on the floor. With studying, you get the theoretical knowledge.
But would you do it again?
No.
So you wouldn't get your bachelor's?
To be honest, no. It's after 1 year, I said to myself, why did I start at my bachelor's?
But you finished, so.
But I finished. Yeah, no. I definitely didn't want to quit. I was like, I'm gonna get it. I started. I'm gonna finish it. But I would have much rather just started working. Yeah.
But then you wouldn't have the opportunity now.
Correct. I wouldn't have had this opportunity. I would have still worked to become a GM. It would have just been a complete different route to get there at one point.
But is that what made you decide to do the elevator program, that you want to be a GM?
It's at that time when I applied, I wasn't sure what a GM does. I had shadowed a few GMs for a few days just to see what are they doing, what does their day-to-day look like, what are responsibilities. But I wasn't all too sure. I did, however, know that I wanted to grow within the company. So when I applied for the elevator program, I came up with, I put into words why I wanted to become a GM, why it would be helpful for me to keep growing and to eventually become a GM and maybe even grow higher, just like our GM to go to area or country or region. And that's why I applied. I wasn't quite too sure what I wanted to do after my studies, which field I wanted to go into, which direction, and then elevator was perfect since I would go through everything again, get to know 2 new countries and 2 new cultures, see new places, get to learn everything again, and then say, hey, what fits best with me?
From my understanding, when you do the elevator program, you get the chance to be a manager of some sort somewhere after you're done the program. Was that in the Maldives or is it here now?
No, so Seychelles was still the second part of my training. Once I was finished somewhere during my time in Seychelles, I had to start looking around, what do I want to do, where do I want to go? And that's when I started looking. It's not a given, a position. You always still have to do interviews, apply, decide what level of management you want to be. Some people, it's not necessarily that you're a department head or that you are a supervisor or a manager or directly to director of operations, let's say. It's all up to yourself.
You have a better chance to get the job when you have done the elevator program, right?
Yeah, for instance, here in Berlin, they were familiar with the program. So I wouldn't say it's easier to get in, but they at least familiar with the program. They know the people that go into and come out. Hotels that have never worked with it. For instance, I applied at the Azores as well. It's one of the islands off the coast of Portugal. They had no clue what an elevator was. So when I went into the into the process of interviewing, they see, oh, he's lacking in experience. Of course, you talk about it because then I say like, hey, this is what I've done. Been with Hilton, I've worked here and here, but you don't see, for instance, oh, you've been a manager, you've been a restaurant supervisor, you've been in HOD before, because that's not on my CV because I haven't done that. So it depends if the hotel's familiar with the program, how easy it is to get in. But at the end, for instance, here in Berlin, yes, they know the program, but I'm still up against people that have been a manager or an HOD for 10 years. So you have one foot in the door, but you're definitely not there. Yeah.
Is there any country that has influenced you the most? Because you've been a lot of countries, right?
Yeah. In terms of personal development, I would say Saudi Arabia. It was so much different. I mean, you've got Europe. I mean, that's where we are right now. It's very open, free, easy to get around. Communication, things are well arranged. And then I went to Saudi, didn't know the language, didn't know the culture, didn't know nothing. And I really had to learn everything from scratch. And it's not simple as in Europe, but they're family orientated. They are close together. Everybody helps each other. It was so different that as a person, I've learned to accept much more. As in, yeah, I just learned to accept much more, to be more open-minded. I feel like I was already before, but after that experience and living with them for 9 months, with people from the Middle East, from Southeast Asia as well, it opened my eyes, let's say.
But do you think it has influenced your work style as well? Because they have such a different style than Europe.
Yes, it has increased my knowledge on that sense, but it's not comparable here to Europe, because in the Middle East, they work a lot with external laborers that come from different countries. Let's say they come from India, they come from Pakistan, they come from Indonesia, from Thailand, they come all over. They're very cheap. So a hotel says, hey, the jobs that the locals don't want to do, we hire people from outside. It's
But we
very
do the
cheap.
same thing.
Well, the thing is, here, well, I don't know how to say this. Yes, we do the same thing, but if we hire people from outside, let's say in a restaurant where we work with Aushilfe, you pay quite a lot of money. There it's very cheap. So
Also
they're
here they are more expensive than there.
much more expensive. Here one is there 6. So it's the work ethics as a department is very different when you work with mainly locals or when you work mainly with people from outside.
So for them it's like it's cheaper to hire somebody from the outside than from the inside, and here it's the other way around.
Yeah.
You already said you think you've become more open-minded while there. Is there anything you have learned about yourself in particular that you maybe have learned before?
I mean, I learned that quite quick. I would say I'm quite easy going and flexible in the sense of you drop me somewhere and I'll manage. I mean, I moved to the States by myself when I was 19, all alone, not
Tennessee,
knowing the
right?
country. Yeah, Tennessee, and just going there and figuring out how life works, how it goes, how it is to live on my own, to
What
cook,
did
to
you do?
clean.
What did you do there?
I worked in the front office there.
Ah, sure.
Saudi, I didn't. The only thing I knew is from Google Maps where it was. I didn't look anything up. I just went there and I thought I'll figure it out.
Well, was it an easy city to walk around?
No, I mean,
Because America or the United States is not like walkable cities that much.
yeah.
But was it easier? Like you could just go around and explore?
In Saudi?
Yeah.
No, because in Saudi, the infrastructure is very bad. So if you don't
Okay.
have a car, you don't get around.
Okay.
Yeah, same as in the States. If you don't have a car, you don't get around. Yeah.
Okay, but after working in so many different countries and so many different positions, how did you end up at the first of all here
Yeah.
and then as an F&B manager?
I wanted to be closer to home. Yeah, I mean,
It's not that close.
well, I mean, it's a 6-hour drive. It's better than a 12-hour flight.
Same continent at least.
Yeah, okay. So let's say I wanted to be closer to home. So I was looking in Europe, just have it a little bit easier, be closer to home, easy for friends and family, for myself. F&D was a choice that I made. I didn't want to sit in an office the whole day. So commercial HR finance was a no-go. And then out of the operations areas, my interest was most with F&D. I've always done it. I really wanted to go for it again. In terms of F&D manager here, was lucky, to be honest. I was looking into banquets director. I've applied for restaurant managers. And then here I applied for F&D manager. And ended up with an assistant, as per the title, assistant F&D manager, as I am still responsible for the department. There's no manager. But this just came to be. It was a very nice conversation that I had with both Andrea, Nico, and Marcus. Our interests all aligned, and they saw potential in me. That's a little bit how I ended up. Let's say it was lucky because they are familiar with my previous bosses, so they had a chat with them as well.
He said Koen is great.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, lucky us. Can you walk us through like a typical day for you?
Yeah.
It's probably not. You probably don't have like you don't do the same thing every day.
Correct. Yeah.
So roundabout what you do. Every day.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say they're okay. I'll get to work. Depending on what's happening in the hotel, sometimes I start at 6:37 in the morning. Sometimes I'll show up at 9:30, depending on what's happening in the morning. I'll walk in, go into the office, quickly check what's extra, and then I'll make my round through the hotel. So I'll check breakfast, what's happening there. I'll check in with the team members, just have a quick chat with the managers and the supervisors, show my face, walk around. And then the first meetings already start of the day. After that, I'll try to go into the office to get some work done. Since it's not that I just have to be in a restaurant. I also am working on strategies, on the financial parts, communicating towards the region, what's happening. For instance, now with the terrace, looking into new concepts that we could potentially use. So I try to spend some time in the office. However, a lot of times there are events going on. So then I don't have time to be in the office. I'll go to the event, walk around, help out, check in with the people, what's going on, where is everybody, helping with the flow of people. And when it's very busy, I'll help in the restaurant serving some dishes as well, taking orders, just to get the rush through. In the afternoon, I do still spend some time in the office, because it's most of the times that if there's no events, it's a little bit more quiet. And then in the evening, I'll go back out to the restaurants and the event halls to check how everything is happening. New team has come, check in with them, go over what needs to happen that day or that week, go over some feedback, and just see how it's going.
Okay, you do more stuff in the operations. But is there any part of your job or any task of your job that people wouldn't think are part of your job from the outside?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's a lot, I would say, that people wouldn't necessarily say is part of my job. So for instance, I communicate a lot with the C&E team about events that are incoming, in terms of pricing, in terms of what is possible, what is not possible, what can we arrange for a group, setup style. It's not just the group comes and it happens. There's a lot of information that needs to be exchanged beforehand. There is a regional team that asks for strategies, for implementations, for menus, and there's a communication between them. So I need to give that information all to them. Yeah, it sounds a bit vague. In terms of, let's say there are new suppliers that Hilton says you need to use this supplier, then it's up to me to reach out to the suppliers, have a chat with them, what can they do for us, and then I'll go to the purchasing and they will set up contracts, they will buy it. But then before that, I need to sample, I need to make sure everything is all correct, what can we do for each other. A lot of guest requests. So guests coming in and say like, hey, I'm coming then and then, I want to set up this in my room, I want to have this type of dinner, I want to make a special moment. So it's communicating with guests on what they could do in the hotel.
But wouldn't that be more of like the restaurant manager's job, like Momo?
So so Nico not. So anything that goes into my department should go through me, and then if I need help, I'll go to Nico. Nico should just come to me to ask what's happening. In that sense, a lot of things could go through Momo as well, but that would be restaurant specific. So the guests would then come, most of the times it's being sent to me. It's like, hey, I want to have this and this for a dinner. Most things I would say like, okay, this is or this is not possible. If I cannot say it at first hand, I'll go to Momo, for instance, the restaurant manager, and say like, hey Momo, this and this is a request. Can we or can we not do it? Since he is focused on the operation itself, he knows exactly what's going on. But for instance, if a request comes in and I already say like, hey, this is not possible, they want to bring, I don't know, an elephant into the hotel, I can immediately say no without bothering the next person.
But when it's about like creating a menu or that type of stuff, that's what you do.
Yeah, so in creating a menu, I would first come up with something myself, a concept and idea. I would then go to Momo, like, hey Momo, what do you think? What are your ideas? What do you want to change? What can you not do? What would you like to see? And then from there we continue developing.
But when do you start involving the kitchen? Because they are the people.
So the kitchen, right now, I don't have to do anything regarding the food. So I would then go to Lena. So for instance, with the terrace right now, Lena and I sit down like, hey, what are we looking for? We see that this is working, this is not working. Then we sit together. Okay, what do we want to change? What do we see in other places around Berlin, around the Gendarmenmarkt that are happening? Maybe we could do a concept like that. Hey, on the menu, we see that people read the menu, they go, why is this? So we do a lot of conceptual thinking before actually changing and implementing something, because the changing and implementing is part of operations. So we come up with an idea, we ask operations, can you do this, yes or no? And then they will give their input, and from there we create a menu.
That brings me to my question, another question. How do you approach developing new concepts or idea?
Yeah, a lot of times it's brainstorming. It just, sometimes an idea just happens to come. It's a lot of seeing what other people are doing. Sometimes people give you some inspiration. For instance, the GM sends me a lot of times menus, pictures where he's been. It's like, hey, they have this, this, this.
Can we do that?
Yeah, and that's the same for me and Lena. If we go somewhere else, we send each other pictures. Hey, this and this is happening here for either food or drinks or whatsoever. Then you come up with an idea, then you involve somebody else, like, hey, we want to do this, what do you think? Another person gives its ideas, so it's a lot of going back and forth of getting an idea and getting a concept. That's what's taking the most time. Actually thinking of what drinks you want to put on a menu can be done in, let's say, not in 10 minutes, but can be done quickly. But coming up, do you want to be French style? Do you want to do Italian service? Do you want to have full plates, or do you want to have small bites or spread around the table? Do you want to have a menu with iconic drinks and be classy, or do you say like, hey, I want something that's more modern and popular, easy to make, quick to serve, and people just get it at the desk? So it's a lot going before actually creating a menu. That's just brainstorming, seeing what other people are doing, and then giving your own twist to it.
Okay, and we have you just introduced the daily specials. How did you come up with that?